folks, and welcome to their Sunday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, and I am all alone. Benjamin is very busy for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll both be busy as I believe we're going to be doing a show together. Yes, we're going to return back to dinner theater. I gave him, he is going to be directing a show. He didn't have a script. There aren't many good dinner theater scripts. I have a few I've been saving for a rainy day. Well, I wrote a season of scripts for a dinner theater years ago. I have not used them, and I thought maybe I'd give him one. Well, then after a while, I thought, man, I really want to be a part of this production. Maybe I'd like to even be in it. So I think I'm going to be in a show together, and that would be super fun. But until then, he is currently in a show, so for the next 2 weeks, he will not be around. We have some great topics. He asked me to keep one of the topics. So the other one I'm going to go ahead and do. And this one is on Best Directors Movies. I have 3 directors who I could rank their movies on. And it's funny because when it got to Scorsese and James Cameron, Martin Scorsese and James Cameron, I didn't find a 5 that I was really happy with, like that I really just loved. Isn't that weird? I think like James Cameron only had 4. And then anything else I felt like, meh, would I call it his best? And so the 3 directors that I thought about, well, I thought about 5 directors is what I wanted to do, but then those other 2 weren't panning out. They're big directors. I thought about Wes Anderson too, Edgar Wright, a few others, and I just couldn't find, well, I didn't look at Ron Howard, so maybe look at him next time, but I was just kind of looking around, wasn't impressed by many people's, like the director, every once in a while, well, I guess now I can think of 2 more I could have done. So maybe I'll do a part 2 to this. Yeah, that would be a good idea there. Where's my pen? My thinking pen. I don't have it. Someone took it. But anyway, I want to do 3 directors, and how this all started is I recently saw Trap by M Night Shyamalan, and I was super excited for this movie. I mean, very excited. I was thinking, man, this could be one of the best movies of the year for me. And it was okay. I heard a lot of people tell me it was great, or some of the best, oh, M Night Shyamalan's back at it again, and this is the best one ever. And I'm thinking, nah, not really. I have seen better than him. So for me, it just wasn't as good. In fact, probably in the lower tier of movies for him. It wasn't horrible, but it kind of meandered on, and I'm not going to spoil it here. I mean, is it worth watching? Man, that's a hard thing to say, because Josh Hartnett is excellent in it. He's excellent in it. He is good. But unfortunately, the movie just kind of drags at the end. I mean, there's a whole 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I think, that just make no sense. I know now why. His daughter is in it, so he wanted to give his daughter a big role in like the 3rd act, and it just totally doesn't make sense at all. And his daughter being in it, period. His daughter's a terrible, terrible director. Her movie, The Watchers, awful movie. Oh, what a disappointment. And she is actually the concert girl. She's really singing her songs because it's almost like a vanity project for his daughter. And I get that, being a dad, you want your daughter to shine. You want people to be ranting and raving about your daughter, but her songs are bland. She is bland. She's flat as an actress. Just no good. And I felt something was off with that singer. I said, man, this is a girl who can sing. Is she really a pop artist? Then I looked her up after I got out of the movie theater and said, oh, and then suddenly some of this movie makes sense. Because some of the concert scenes with her singing went a little too long. Not like it was a music video, but they hung on her just way too long during some of her songs. I went, what, is this supposed to be a promotional collab with some singer so she can promote her new CD? Yeah, his daughter's CD. So that kind of turned me off with the whole movie. And it's a shame, because if I think they would have brought some pop star, Taylor Swift, fake in there, or, copycat, and then kind of fixed up the 3rd act, it would have been a pretty good film. But unfortunately, it wasn't. And I started thinking, because I was talking to my nephew about what was his top 5 films, because I always ask people top 5 randomly in conversations. And yes, sometimes I am fishing for ideas. And like I said before last week, I try to get my nephews or anyone to come on the podcast to talk about things, and everyone declined. But that's okay. That's okay. Because now I'm going to give you first off, my top 5 M Night Shyamalan movies in order. Number 5, not many people love, and I think it is one of his best. It is The Village. I love The Village. I've seen it multiple times. In fact, all of these except for one, I've seen multiple. I don't know. I may have seen this one twice. I may have seen the fourth one twice. But anyway, but this one I feel is super good. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people hate the ending. I don't mind the ending, the little twist ending. I still love it. I still love it. I think it's a fantastic movie. It has a whole lot going for it. Check it out. I don't know if I'll be doing spoilers to any of these movies if you haven't seen them. Man, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to spoil anything, but I do enjoy that one. So the next one from that would be almost said it. If Signs, there it is. Signs. If you'd have asked me back in the day, Signs would have been probably one more higher, number 4. But a newer movie came in and kind of bumped everything down. I enjoy Signs. Joaquin Phoenix, Mel Gibson. Hello, what kind of movie am I watching here? And a lot of people make a joke about the end of the movie. This one I kind of will spoil. The aliens are whatever. The water hurts them. Well, why would they invade a planet that's 98% water or whatnot? I get it, but who knows? Maybe they didn't realize. I don't know. Either way, though, as the movie goes around, I think it's really good. As it revolves around the family and as they're scared, Mel Gibson, pastor who loses his faith, kind of regains it there in the end. Great scene where they refuse to pray and bless the meal, and they're all having their favorite thing, but they can't enjoy it. They don't love it. It's the worst meal ever instead of the best meal ever, what it should have been. Because it may be their last meal together. Just such a quintessential scene in the movie, and it really just ties everything. In fact, if it wasn't for that scene, this movie would have slipped out. It would have been number 6, maybe. And I would have had to put, I don't know what I would have put in. He didn't direct Devil, which was a really good movie. He produced it. So I'd have to think about that. The Visit may be number 5 in that case, but that one scene keeps Signs in there, and slightly above The Village too, because I really, really, really enjoy the whole movie, but especially that scene. All right, so number 3 is my brother's number 1. It is Unbreakable. Unbreakable is excellent. Bruce Willis, back when he was acting and caring about it, like a modern tale superhero, back before superhero movies were really that big. I felt it was really good. Again, more of mystery, a slow burn, but it keeps you the early M. Night Shyamalan movies really keep you engaged. Really keep you engaged at all. And this one does it better than just about any other one. Of course, I do think there are 2 that are slightly better. But that one's a pretty solid one. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about number 2 because it ended up being the sequel, in a way, to Unbreakable. It was called Split. My wife dragged me to Split. I had no desire to see this movie. I saw it. I think it's James McAvoy's best. I'd watch him now. I didn't like him as an actor before, but love him now. But that is still his best movie. By far. What a brilliant movie. The ending is great. As we see, he does actually turn into the beast. His eyes, he gets more muscular. He goes crazy. It's great. And then as they arrest him and whatever, they go to and I did not know, I did not spoil myself with the movie. I didn't know there was spoilers because I didn't want to see the movie. I didn't even look at the movie. I didn't look anything up about it. I had seen the trailer once, but I didn't hear any news about it. And so I was blown away at the end when they showed Bruce Willis. I went, what is Bruce Willis doing in the little stinger? And then he goes, glass, like Mr. Glass. And at first I didn't understand what that was for. And I was like, wait, no. And then I was like, well, and my wife had never seen Unbreakable. So we popped it in. I watched it for the umpteenth time. And I was like, oh, you've never seen, my wife had never seen Unbreakable. She didn't get the stinger at the end. And I thought that was really cool. And I believe that's the first time he kind of tied both of his movies together in the same world. And I was like, that's awesome. That was really cool. He should, I was digging it. And then they came out with part 3, which is Glass. And it's not as good. There's something, and I was super excited about Glass. Samuel Jackson coming back as his character, which really makes Unbreakable awesome. But here, everything felt forced. M Night Shyamalan was like, do I have a trilogy plan? Sure. No, you had 2 great films, and you wink wink tied them together at the end to kind of make sense. It's a world of modern day superheroes and villains. And that's really, I don't think they needed to meet. I don't think the 2 needed to meet. But you put them all together. You put, I like the idea of Samuel Jackson reprising his role. But the whole movie, it wasn't bad. It's not a bad film. I would still put The Visit over it, though. Maybe Glass is number 7. Maybe. But that is one of... That's the only one out of Split and Unbreakable and Glass. Glass I've only seen once. The others I've seen several times. And Glass just felt... I wish it was more a character piece to Samuel Jackson's character with the other 2 in the background, from Split and Unbreakable, Bruce Willis and James McAvoy. I kind of wish it was more focused on him and then have them in the background. Maybe that's what I wanted. But it felt like this was like a modern, at this point, superhero movies were everywhere. So you got to make this team up. You got to have an IP, right? You got to create a legacy movie series. Who knows? Maybe more spinoffs galore. For whatever reason, I don't know how Glass did in theaters, but like I said, it wasn't bad. It just didn't hold up to, because Unbreakable is excellent and only beat by Split and that universe, because I really was shocked at how good Split was. No joke. But my number 1, everyone knows it right now. My number 1 is actually The Happening with Mark Wahlberg. I love it. I'm kidding. Actually, to be honest, The Happening wouldn't even be in my bottom. I think it'd be number 8. I think it'd be right behind. I actually liked The Happening. A lot of people make fun of it, but I really liked it, where the trees are whispering to people and killing them. I thought that was nice. I enjoyed it. The worst M Night Shyamalan by far is Lady in the Water. Lady in the Water by a billion. I watched that in theaters. I was so disappointed. And then I can't remember. Old on the Beach was okay. Man, I may put Trap second worst. So maybe Trap is bad. I don't know. But Old was all right. And now I can't remember I didn't write all the movies down. I didn't want to do a big breakdown of everything. But number 1 is obviously The Sixth Sense. That was the first one that kind of put him on the map. It was excellent. Great twist. Wonderful movie. Watched it several times back in the day. Haven't seen it recently, but still solid. Still by what I know is solid. Of course, he loves working with Bruce Willis. He did 3 films with him. The third one not being as good. But if I remember right, Bruce Willis was still caring about movies for Glass. Thank goodness. So the acting wasn't hurting Glass. It just, the feel, the beat, the overarching storyline, that's probably what hurt it. But anyway, Sixth Sense, my favorite by far. Awesome movie. So much fun. I forgot Donnie Wahlberg's in that, I believe. Yeah, I think he's in the first one for just like a little scene. And then he did one with Mark Wahlberg. That's great. But do all of it, there's a theory that all his movies exist in the same world. I don't believe that. I know everyone's going to make a theory about things, but that nothing has to connect for me when it comes to just good movies. But Sixth Sense is my number 1. So there you go. 5 movies from M Night Shyamalan. And I thought, let's keep going. Let's go to Quentin Tarantino. To be honest, this was a little harder because I could only think of 5 that were just really good, and the rest of them are enjoyable. Like I would sit through them, but they're not my favorites. So the 5 that I thought were really good. Number 5, Inglourious Bastards. A lot of fun. My brother really wanted to see that one. I watched it with him. We really enjoyed it. Super fun. All these movies are super fun. Number four, Django Unchained. I really enjoyed that movie. Thought it was really good. To be honest, haven't seen it in a while. So some of these, yeah, these first three I've only seen once each. But since he's a popular, movie director and everyone, ranks his movies, I thought I'd do Quentin Tarantino. I thought he had more movies that I really enjoyed. I was surprised that there's a lot of newer movies in here. Newer, but I mean, the last one I saw in theaters, I believe, is number three, Hateful Eight, which I thought was really good and basically just takes place inside a cabin. For what is it, like 2.5 hours? It's a super long movie. But it feels like it doesn't take that long. It doesn't feel that long. And it's excellent. So excellent. I love it. I love this movie. I remember I watched this with Bruce, my sometimes full-time co-host, and I remember turning to him going, wow, that was really good. Like, this is one of his better ones. And that's when I knew it was ranking high. I mean, I have two favorites that I didn't think Hateful Eight would beat, and it didn't, but respectable third. Okay? And definitely over Django Unchained and Inglourious Basterds. I really like Hateful Eight. So it'd be like number 4 and 5 are at the bottom. 3 is a couple of steps up. And then these next two are on, podiums, They're so good. Number 2, and this is kind of cheating, but if you want me to pick one, I'll pick one. Kill Bill, Volumes 1 and 2. I really like Volume 1. I really love both. But if I had to pick one, it's going to be Volume 1. I love the action in it. However, I agree with my brother that some of the best dialogue is when she meets Bill at the end. And that's just a great scene. It's just a great, great scene. About the commentary about Superman mocking humans. He sees humans as weak. Me and my brother never thought of that before. My brother and I watched both of these. I remember in theaters, we watched the first one. I thought it was blow my mind awesome. Blow your mind awesome. I for a while questioned whether it was my favorite Quentin Tarantino film of all time, but I wanted to wait for part 2. Part 2 came out. Really good. I mean, they're just neck and neck, for me. But then my brother walked out of theaters and goes, that was better than the first one. I went, was it? I said, I didn't hate the movie. I actually loved Kill Bill Part 2. But I said, the whole time I was thinking, I think 1 beats it out. My brother goes, no way, man. That last scene with Bill. I said, yeah, that was the best scene in it. That's what kind of, brought it up to number 1 in my opinion, or to part 1. So we debated a little bit about it, and he still thinks Kill Bill Part 2 is better. And I mean, maybe you do too. You can let me know in the comments below. But I do love Kill Bill as a duology together. It's a lot of fun. Seen it more than once. Love it. I don't know if it was rumor or whatnot, but Quentin Tarantino said if he was ever come back to that Kill Bill world, it would be the girl is grown up now, and she's hunting, the samurai girl. I can't remember her name now. Uma Thurman's character, whatever Uma Thurman's character's name was. But now she's hunting Uma Thurman. And I like that idea. I don't know if it'll ever be made. Will it call Kill Samurai Girl or Kill Bill Part 3? Either way, I would go to see that. Also, it doesn't hurt that my brother is a massive Uma Thurman fan. So, of course, Uma Thurman is going to be, that was one of the hottest chicks in Hollywood for him. So, she's going to get, put on the pedestal for him. And Kill Bill is his number 1. Kill Bill Part 2 is my brother's number 1, I know by far. Mine is going to shock you. Maybe. It's not Pulp Fiction. It's Reservoir Dogs. Pulp Fiction's fine. I enjoy it. I've seen it more than once, but just, it's all right. I thought it was overrated when it came out, but have come to enjoy it a little bit more since then. But Reservoir Dogs might have been the first one I saw of his movies, and I loved it. And I've seen it so many times. And I have a copy. When they were putting out all the copies, Mr. Brown, Mr. Yellow, Mr. Pink, they had different colors. I picked Mr. Brown, Quentin Tarantino's character. I remember a lot of people got Mr. Pink because Steve Buscemi's in it. But that film is a masterpiece. Holy cow. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to watch it right now again. There's been nothing better than Reservoir Dogs. I just think it's just so awesome. I love it. I know his world kind of connects, and everything, and I like that. And by the way, let me just mention to Pulp Fiction fans everywhere, I do enjoy Pulp Fiction now. I do think it's a good film. But back in the day, I hated it. I thought it was overrated. Everyone kept screaming over it. I was like, nothing. This is nothing compared to Reservoir Dogs. But yes, I've come to enjoy a lot more, a lot more. In fact, someone just pointed out to me that, what movie was it? And Die Hard, I think. One of the Die Hard movies, maybe the fifth one, which I hate. There's a character that was with Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction. And he tells Bruce Willis what he had to eat. And that is the lyrics to the song that Bruce Willis is listening to in the car in Pulp Fiction. I had no idea. I don't keep up with I don't read about a bunch of Easter eggs. But I was like, wow. I did look it up, and of course the theories are out there running rampant, and it's true, but that's really cool. Either way, Pulp Fiction's good, but not my top 5. So let me know what your top 5 is of Night Shyamalan and Quentin Tarantino. But I got one more. Steven Spielberg, you got to do, right? You got to do Steven Spielberg on this one. I felt I did. I was kind of surprised by my choices here. They were different than what I thought. He made a lot of good films, a lot of classics, but shockingly enough, in my top 5, maybe not shocking to you, maybe you enjoyed it too, The Terminal. It was based off a true story of a man who spent, I think, 18 years, 16 years in a terminal. At first, it was because he lost his passport and everything. He couldn't get out without it. And then later on, by his own volition, the man decided just to stay in there for as long as he could because he was happy with his new life inside of an airport terminal. Now, for me, Tom Hanks's portrayal of him was excellent. The whole story's interesting. And I like that, what would I do if I was stuck inside a terminal and I couldn't get out? And I love that line of thinking. And I thought, man, this is so interesting. And so that's why it took the number 5 spot. I love movies like that. And I believe Terminal is one of his best. Another one, not going to surprise anyone who saw it back in the day, but I will argue it is still an excellent film, Hook. Hook is all heart. I remember the moment I saw it in theaters. I was, 16 or whatnot. I remember looking over because we went with a bunch of friends from, we were a bunch of high schoolers. We all went out together. My buddies were with me. A bunch of girls were with us. And we were kind of pointing over and laughing at the girls at the end because they were crying at the end of the movie. They thought it was so sweet. And I was like, aha, they're crying. Last time I watched it, I got choked up. So finally, I realized what they were crying about. There is some great sentimental thing. I mean, like the Run Home Jack and Home Run Jack. The part where he and his dad connect. The wife, the mom. He kind of comes home. He tells the old Wendy, "Hello there, Wendy Bird. Hello there, girl," or whatever. She says, "Hello there, boy." They have their little, because now he remembers everything again. It is awesome. Robin Williams' portrayal as an old Peter Pan that has kind of lost his way, grown up, and now has to come back and fight. And by the way, for the longest, I'm not embarrassed to say this, for about 10 years after that movie had come out, and I'd seen it 3 times, I had no idea it was Dustin Hoffman. I mean, now it's obvious to me. But growing up, even as a young adult, I did not know that was Dustin Hoffman. Until maybe the 3rd time I watched it, I went, "Oh, that's Dustin Hoffman." I realized, I don't know why it took me so long. The makeup's so good, his acting's so good. My goodness, everything about that movie, the sets, the look, everything about it is fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. It's charming to the last, and it's so much fun. Of course, it has a lot of memories. Who didn't want if you had the sword that had a ringing cling to it whenever you hit it against something? I remember a friend of mine bought that, and we were all, teenagers, but at the same time, I was like, that is a cool sword. Like, I want a sword that can ding. He bought it. He was like 15 or or something, but he bought it, thought it was cool, and I was like, dang, that is a cool sword, you know. Didn't want to admit that because older kid by then. I think maybe I was 15, he was 14, I don't know. But either way, boy, oh boy, I thought it was cool. But Hook, number 4. Number 3 is Jaws. I asked my wife which one would be her favorite. She picked this one, I believe, number 2. She and I have the same number 1. But Jaws is one of her favorite movies of all time. I think it is phenomenal. It is a phenomenal film. It holds up even today. We did a whole podcast on this. Benjamin and I did, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. But Jaws is classic. It's good stuff. My number 3. Number 2, Saving Private Ryan. I saw it. I remember my first time watching it was really fun because I went out with this girl, and that's when I realized I'd really screwed up because I asked her what movie she wanted to see, and Ever After with Drew Barrymore was playing. And I did not want to see that. But if she would have said yes, I would have taken her and been miserable. And she said the classic girl phrase, I don't care, whatever you want to watch. And I wanted to see Saving Private Ryan. Boy, I was into it the whole time. I look over and she is bored. She is just having a miserable time. And that's when I knew this girl's not going out with me ever again. But you know what? I remember when I got in, my roommate said, how'd it go? And I went, well, the movie was great, but I will never see her again. I told them why, and they all laughed. I said, I don't care. I saw a good movie. So the movie meant more than impressing the girl. Maybe my priorities were a little off back then, I will admit. But no regrets, baby. But I did slightly feel bad when I looked over at her because I was going, man, this is great stuff. And I kind of look at her and she's just like, oh, like she can't stand it. Like she looks like me if I was watching Ever After with Drew Barrymore. And that's when I realized, whoops. The second time I realized I screwed up on a date was this girl was telling me she was wanting to hear sympathy, you know, and me telling her how awful her boyfriend is. But she drove all the way to San Antonio, like 8 hours or whatnot, because she knew he was going to break up with her. But she faced him, so he wouldn't have to call and break up with her on the phone. She wouldn't be broken up on the phone. She drove all the way out there, 8 hours, 9 hours, however long it is, out in San Antonio. And he broke up with her in person, and made her drive all the way back. How awful. I said, what did you expect him to do? You already said you knew he was going to dump you. Why would you even go? I said, that seems like a personal decision. That doesn't seem like it's on him. And then we were playing putt-putt at the time. And I remember I hit it and I went, hey, hole in one. And looked over at her and she was pissed. And that's when I knew, well, this date is over. Yep. I have not seen her since, though I know the guy she married, and I see him every once in a while, but I think they're divorced even though. So I don't even see her. I don't even know where she is anymore, but that was the last time I ever saw her. And I knew I didn't even bother calling again because, I mean, she was cold for the rest of the evening. So, oh well, what's new? I screwed up on that one. But number 1 for Steven Spielberg is also my wife's number 1. It is Jurassic Park. Classic, lovely. Of course, when I saw it for the first time, mind blown, brains leaking out of my ears. I actually believed they'd found real dinosaurs. The CGI was something I'd never seen before, and I could not imagine how they did it. All the dinosaurs, in my opinion, looked real. And of course, some of them animatronic were, but even those looked real. I mean, everything just looked so real. I was like, how did they do this? I must have seen that movie a million times in theaters, like everyone else did back in the day. But it is excellent. And it still holds up today. It is still the best Jurassic film there is, and it will never be beaten. Jurassic World has proven that 3 times now. In fact, Jurassic World, if the Jurassic World movies have proven anything, it's that Jurassic Park 3 is a masterpiece. Honestly, if you've seen Jurassic World, all of them, go back and watch Jurassic Park 3 and go, wow, this is much better than I remembered. It is. I did after watching Jurassic World. I went back and said, oh, does this beat Jurassic Park 3? And I went, nope, it doesn't. But anyway, that's my top 5 from Spielberg. What is your top 5 from Spielberg? Let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you next time on Saturday Morning Samoflange.